I also want a blog post on Hollywood movies.
I'm running your task now, sire. Your request for a blog post on Hollywood movies is in. Need help with anything else?
So are you ready for my MCP demo? So I have this MCP agent and I'm going to give my MCP agent a call. So let's hear it.
This call will be recorded for quality purposes. Hey, I'm the MCP agent. What can I do for you?
Hey, can you create a blog post for me? And the title of the blog post is something related to a voice AI agent and its rise. Can you do that for me, please?
I'm running your task now, sire. All set. The blog post creation request is in. Is there anything else you'd like help with?
Yeah, sure. Can you also create a blog post for under the name Cats and Dogs, please?
I'm running your task now, sire. Just checking in. Do you need anything else? Or is there something specific you'd like to work on next?
I also want a blog post on Hollywood movies.
I'm running your task now, sire. Your request for a blog post on Hollywood movies is in. Need help with anything else?
So could you please create a new contact with the name Robert, and the email address is robert@example.com.
I'm running your task now, sire. The contact has been created with the name Robert and the email address robert@example.com. Is there anything else you'd like me to do?
Can you add a tag to Robert saying that it is a hot lead?
I'm running your task now, sire. A tag has been added to Robert indicating that it is a hot lead. Anything else you'd like me to handle? Just checking in. Do you need any more help with your CRM tasks? Let me know if there's anything else I can do.
Yeah, that's all for now. Thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome. Glad I could help. Have a great day. Goodbye.
So you have seen the demo of my MCP agent, and now I'm going to show you how it is done. All right. So welcome to Highlevel Techie. It's been a while that I posted anything. I've been busy. I've been working on a new brand, and I was also creating a new bootcamp for anyone to join. So if you are interested, we are still running this bootcamp. Please join in. We have so many cool people talking at this event as a guest speaker. So tune in to listen to Johan, Fer Patel, and Robin Alex. So this is cool stuff and you are invited. Okay. So now let's get into MCP server and how you can set it up in N8N. So if you are in the GHL world, one of the most trending keywords these days are MCP and N8N. So this is exactly what you're going to get today, MCP and N8N. So let's start from the basics. So how can you set up an AI agent inside N8N that interacts with GHL MCP? Okay, so let's start with the first workflow. So here you can see I have three workflows. One is the MCP that works from a chat widget. So this chat is provided by N8N itself. So you can do that. Or you can also do this via phone call. I'm not a big fan of using phone call for such purposes, but it is cool to see that you can call a number and get some of your CRM tasks done via phone call. But when you consider the cost involved, it is just a cool gadget to have. I don't see that as a very functional business requirement. But anyway, I'll show you how it's done. If you want to go ahead with that, you can go ahead with that. So let's begin with the simple one. So if you're working with workflow, you know that there has to be a trigger for any workflow to start. So in this case, the chat message is the trigger. So this chat trigger is provided by N8N itself. So if you click on this chat widget, you also have an option to make this chat widget publicly available. So you toggle this on, you get a link, and then you can use that link on a website or anywhere you want to make it publicly available. And then you go back in here, save that, and then you go open that link. Then you can see this chat widget, and then you can type your question here, and then you can interact with this workflow as a chat. So this is the easiest way you can implement your MCP server using N8N. Just use the chat trigger and AI agent. Okay. So let me show you from scratch how it's done. So I'm gonna create a new workflow. So this is a blank canvas. So let's start building this out. So let me first introduce you to the N8N AI Agent. So let's click here and search for AI Agent. And this is the AI agent that everyone talks about in N8N, because this AI agent gives so much capability to automate. So you will see, if you are not aware of it, you will see in a minute. Okay. So this AI agent can be triggered from a connected chat trigger node. So if you go back to the canvas again, you will see a chat is already added because chat is needed for the AI agent to work, or some sort of trigger is needed for the AI agent to work. So by default, N8N uses this chat message as the trigger. So that gets added anyway. And now whenever there is a chat message comes through, this AI agent gets activated. Okay. If you want to open chat and then say hi, nothing really happens because our AI agent is not set up yet. You can see a chat model sub node must be connected and enabled. So this is a chat model sub node. This is not enabled. There is no model to interact. So the first thing that we would need to do is to set up a chat model. So to do that, all you have to do is click here on this plus button, and then you can select any of the chat models that are available. So for now, what we are going to go ahead is with the OpenAI model. But if you have Anthropic, DeepSeek, or any other model you want to use, you can select this from this list. But for now, I'm just going to go with OpenAI chat model. And then this window will open up. So if you go back to Canvas, you can see this is how it looks like, OpenAI chat model. So if you double click, this window opens up. And if you haven't connected before, you have to add a credential here. So if you go here, you can click on a new credential, and this will ask you for an API key. So this API key you will get from OpenAI admin panel. So if you don't have an OpenAI account, you have to create an account. You have to have a certain minimum balance in that account so that you can use that API key and your API usage will be charged. So all you have to do is that find out your API key and paste that in here. And organization ID is optional. So all you have to do is just paste this API key and click save. That will connect your OpenAI account to N8N. Okay, so I have already connected this. So I have selected OpenAI account as my credential. And then from the list, I can also select what model I want to use. I would probably go with GPT-4o. And that is how you set up your chat model. So now if you set that up, you can now say hi, and then it goes through the chat model, and then you get the reply back. So you can see the reply came back, hello, how can I help you today? So now we know that our OpenAI chat model is working. So now let's say, please tell me the weather in Sydney. Okay, so simply ask, what's the weather in Sydney? I'm unable to provide real-time weather updates for the latest weather information in Sydney. I recommend you. Okay. Then you can also ask, which state is this city belongs? Okay. I'm sorry, but you didn't specify a city. So now you know that I was asking about Sydney, but AI agent have no clue what I was talking about. I'm sorry, but you didn't specify a city. Please provide the name of the city, and I'm happy to help you determine which state it belongs to. So that is because this AI agent doesn't have a memory by itself. if it doesn't have a memory, it can't hold the information from past interactions. So that's why we need to add a memory to this AI agent so that we can have a seamless conversation. So that's why we click here next to add a memory. And these are the list of tools that you can use. But for beginners, the simple memory is the easiest. So all you have to do is click here and memory is added. If you want to change anything, this is what you can change: context window length. So it remembers 5 past interactions. So if you want to make it 15, feel free to do so. And then you are ready to go. Now, if you save this and then let's copy the previous one. Please tell the weather in Sydney. Then it would come back. I don't know the real time information, but that's not a problem for us. What we want to do is test this. And Sydney is the capital. Now, no, Sydney, we were talking about Sydney because you can see this has run twice. And now our memory is also working. So this is the basic setup for an AI agent that remembers past interactions. Now we can have any conversation with this AI agent, and we can get response back. But that's not what we want, right? We can do that using ChatGPT. We don't really need to create an agent inside N8N for doing that. So now comes the coolest part of this AI agent, and this is the part that makes AI agent in N8N really powerful: the ability to add any tools. So if you click tools, you can see a bunch of tools that you can add. So you can add any apps. For example, you want to add your project management tool, you can add that here. You can also find any tools, convert a kit tool or whatever, you can add that. You can also add Highlevel. So if you search for Highlevel, you can also find Highlevel. But we have even more powerful stuff now, which is the MCP server. So MCP allows us to interact with API in a much different way. So instead of us sending a post request or a get request, MCP can run its own requests and get the task done. So that is what MCP in its simplest form, that there is a protocol that now AI agent can understand and work on, and then it can give us certain results. So we are going to search for MCP, and then you find MCP Client tool. So you select that. So this is the MCP Client tool that everyone is talking about. And it is now fairly easy to set up because all you have to do is add that endpoint. So now where can you find the endpoint? So you can go to Highlevel MCP server doc, and then you can find that. So this is the URL that you need to use: services.leadconnectorhq.com/mcp/. So if you get that link, you come back in and add that link. The next one is your server transport. You just click here and select HTTP streamable. And then we need to authenticate this. So you select header authentication. And then you can add a new authentication from here, create a new credential, and you need to add the name and a value. So the name and value you get from your private integration key. I have previous videos how you can create private integration key and all that. So if you go to your subaccount settings, this is where you can find your private integrations, and then you can create a new integration, give it a name, test, and then click next, and then you select all the scopes that is required. So if you really want to use all the features of MCP, you can add all of the scopes, but for now all the endpoints are not supported, but Highlevel is promising that 250 plus endpoints will be supported, so that is great. So if you want to stay ahead in the game, so you can also select all the endpoints like this. And then once you've done that, you can create this. I'm not going to create a new one. I already have private integration key for MCP testing. It also have some of the sensitive endpoints as well. So that's why it is showing this warning signal here. So if your private integration key has access to such sensitive scopes, it is important that you don't share this private integration key with a lot of people, because they can add or remove a user. They can do multiple things. using your private integration key. So make sure that you keep your private integration key safe. So once you get this private integration key, which will look like PIT and a bunch of number after that, you go back here and then you type in here first authorization. So this is the header name, and then you give the header value. So this would be something like bearer space and PIT hyphen and a bunch of number. That will be your private integration key. So once you've done that, click save and you are ready to go. So I have selected my header authentication from this drop down because I already added that. And then you can test it if this is working or not by going here and click on selected. And then if you can see these tools, the list of tools here, which means that everything is working fine for you. And for some people, you might not find this server transport and you will be like, oh, where is my server transport? So in that case, the most probable cause is that you are running an older version of N8N. Because if you are running a self-hosted N8N, it is your responsibility to update N8N to its most updated version. So in that case, find out how you can update your N8N to the latest version. You may be running on Render, you may be running on somewhere else, so I cannot give you a step-by-step guide on how to update your N8N. So you need to figure that out. Once you update your N8N, you will find server transport option, and then you select HTTP streamable as the option. Set your authentication as header authentication and add your private integration key, and then select all the tools, or you can select whatever you want, but I would say I would stick with all the tools, and you are ready to go. And you have successfully added your GHL MCP client. So now let's test this out, shall we? So first of all, save this, and then you activate this, and then you can simply ask a question here. So I'm just gonna reset this chat. Please list all the tags in my account. So now I'll answer your question. How does this AI agent know which account, right? Because it seems that I don't have access to your location and therefore I am unable to retrieve the tags from your account. So we know that we have given a private integration key that is associated with a certain location, certain subaccount, but we haven't communicated that to our MCP client. So MCP client has no way to know what is the account that we're talking about. So how can you specify that? So in order to specify your location, you go into AI agent, and this is where you can add some system prompts on top of what is here. So it is now working on whatever coming through the chat trigger node. So whatever we are saying, hi, hello, and everything, this is sending to the next nodes. So we haven't given any other instruction to this AI agent. So this is where you can give extra instruction. So you can click on define below, and then this is where you can add your prompt. So you can go and find your location ID, and then you can add that the location ID to work on for CRM tasks is, and then you paste your location ID from your sub account. So I'm gonna paste that one in, and this is my location ID. And then we also need to include the chat message that is coming, but you can't find any input data here. So you can go here and just simply say hi. That should work. And then if you go back, you can see chat input is here. And then you can also add that into this prompt so that the user requested this. So now we are given the location ID, and then user requested this, that is from the chat input, right? So now we have everything that we need. We can also execute this step here, and then you'll see the output here. Hello, how can I help you today with CRM tasks? Location ID, feel free to ask anything that you need help with. So we are getting somewhere. So now let's go back and ask our previous question. Can you please list all tags in my account. So you can see it's gone to simple memory and then went to chat model, and then it went to MCP client. So you can see the order of execution here, and then it came back. It seems that the system did not return a direct list of tags as it brought up to a custom field instead. Unfortunately, tags are not typically stored as a custom field in CRM. Please let me know. Okay, so there is some issue. Probably get tags is not a endpoint that is supported by MCP client yet. So how do you know if it is supported or not? So head back to your documentation, and then you go here and you look at the tool name. You can get all task, add task, remove tags. So you can see there is no get tag endpoint available. So that is the reason why we are not getting all the tags. So we can try to get all task maybe. So let's copy that and then go, can you list all tasks? So now let's see what it comes back with. I'm not sure if I have tasks in that account. If there are, it will show here. You can see you can see it is running multiple times. There it is. So there are tasks. Yes, there is a bunch of tasks which you can see. Okay, so you can see the task research more about a lead, and then there is a lead. So we can get a list of tasks from our location. And if you go back here to check what all things are supported, you can see update contact, upsert contact, create contact, get contact. All of these are supported. You can also search a conversation. You can get a message, send a new message, get location custom fields. You can also get custom fields. So that is why the confusion happened. So when I asked for get all the tags, it actually went and looked for custom fields. So we can get the list of custom fields if you want. You can also search an opportunity. You can get pipelines, get opportunities. So let's get all the pipelines. Can you please get all pipelines and list it? I said get pipeline. Let's see. Okay, so these are the pipelines in my account, which is lead journey, new lead on presentation desk, and there is a second pipeline and third pipeline. So you can get the pipeline, and now you can also get an opportunity, but for that you need an opportunity ID. You can also get a list of transaction list and get an order by ID, and all of these things can be done, and these are supported out of the box. So if you just want to use the tools listed here, you don't really need any other setup. All you have to do is that you go into your MCP client, copy and paste this link, and then add your private integration key, and you are ready to go. So this will give you all the things that are mentioned in this box. So for now there are 21 endpoints that are supported, but it is mentioned that we will support 250 plus endpoints. So we can wait for that to happen, and once that happens, a lot of things can be done pretty easily. So that is about the simplest way you can implement this. But then you also saw I have created a blog post from a phone call. But when you look at this, so you don't see an endpoint for the blog post, right? So that's where you can create your own tools using GHL API version 2. So we will get into that in a moment. So let's save this, and I'm going to take you to my 01 MCP workflow, which I have already created, which has the tool to create blog as well. So first of all, if you have multiple tools, you need to give a prompt to your AI agent to what to do in certain situations, right? So let's go into AI agent, and you can see here I have added a little bit of prompt. A little bit means like I have 2 lines of prompt here. So use location ID this, and use MCP client tool to get CRM data and run updates, etc. Here is what the admin is requesting, and this is the chat input that we are typing in. And then if asked to create a blog, use MCP tool to create blog. So I'm not going with the finest prompt engineering here, just given in a very simple terms, saying that if someone is asking to create a blog, use the other tool, right? So that is the prompt. And then you go in here and you can see there are two tools. One is the MCP Client, which we just saw now. There is no other settings, just the link and the authorization. And then this is the second tool, MCP tool, to create a blog. So inside this, if you go inside this, you will see an endpoint here and HTTP streamable, none, and all that. So when we are saying that I want to create a blog post, we are sending that information to this tool, to MCP tool, to create blog. So now we are conveying that message to another tool. So we are going to the second tool. So this is the MCP tool to create a blog post, right? So we are going to create a separate tool, and the trigger for this is called MCP server trigger. So if you go to MCP server trigger, you will find a webhook URL. So this is for the testing, this is the production. So you copy the production one, and then you simply go back to your tool. And then inside this tool, what you have to do is that you copy and paste this link. Now what will happen is that whenever someone is requesting for a blog post, that command will go to this tool, and this tool will transmit that information to this workflow. And inside this workflow, we are setting up our actual blog creating tool. So if you go in here, this is pretty much an HTTP request that we are making, and we have some system prompt here. So what we are saying is I use this tool to create this blog post, and use the parameters given below to create that blog post, okay? And then we are asking our AI agent to create the title for our blog post, description, and the raw HTML to create that blog, and image, alt text, and URL slug and such, right? So this is pretty much, you can get it from, if you go to your API document, you go here, and then you can copy the whole thing and then add whatever is required into this description, and you have your prompt ready. So once that system prompt is added, now what we need is to create this tool. So to create this tool, we go back to our API documentation, and then we see that this is a post request made to this endpoint, and these are the things that we need, and these are the parameters that we need to include. So once you understand that, you come back here, and then you set that up, post request to this URL, and then we have to add an authentication, and this is, you just simply select generate credential type, and then you select header authentication from this list, and then you do the same thing that we did earlier. You just add your authorization and your bearer key, authorization and bearer key in here, and you're ready to go. So make sure that the scope to create and update blog is also selected for your private integration key. Otherwise, this will not work. So just make sure that you have selected all the scopes that is required for this purpose. And then we specify the header section. So the first thing that we need is accept, and the value is application/JSON, and the version is this. So if you go to your documentation, you can see bearer is already added under the authorization, and then you add the version and select this version. So that is the first part. And then now we go to the body that we are sending. So what we are sending is as a JSON, and then the specify body we are specify using JSON, and this is the JSON that we are sending. Okay, so this is pretty much what you get from here. So if you look at here, this is what we are sending. Some of them are not required, so that's why we have removed those things. And then we have this. Now we need title. Where do you get title from? So to get title from, we have asked our AI to create a title. Okay, and then location ID is the actual location ID because that's not going to change. So that is a static value that we give. And blog ID is also a static value which you can find inside your blog section. So I have another video how to create blog using API. Please refer to that. That will give you everything that you need to create a blog using API, and it will also tell you where to find blog ID and everything else. Okay. So now let's go to the next required item, which is image URL. So here you can actually add another step before and ask AI agent to create an image and get that output in here. But for ease of use, what I'm using is actually a static image for now, so that I would definitely want to go back to my blog to do some editing. So at that point, I will also update this image. That's the idea. But if you really want to automate the whole thing, you can add another step in front of that and create an image and get the URL and add that in here. So now the next thing is the description. We are also asking AI to create the description, and then the status we set as published. You can set as draft if you want to. I just want to publish the post, so I selected the status as published. So this should be, I think, in all caps. Even if you're using draft, you put that in all caps. And then image alt text is also required, so that is also generated from AI. And the categories, again, refer to my previous video to find the ID for categories. So once you find the category ID, you need to find ID for the author as well. And once you've done that, the URL slug is also created by AI and published at, we are using the system merge field value of now. So the time that this gets published will be the current time. Okay. So now we will have to figure out how to get this value from AI, right? So that is what we do when we execute the previous steps. So for that, we just need to run this step. Okay. So how do you run that step? So you can execute this workflow, then it will wait for this to happen. But for this to happen, it has to come from the previous workflow. So I'm going to open a new window so that I can run a test. So I will go in here and ask for us to create a new blog post from my chat widget, right? So one thing you need to understand now is that we are going to run a test. So to run a test, you have to use the test URL. So you copy the test URL, you go back into your MCP tool to create a blog post and change that endpoint with the test URL endpoint so that you can run a test, right? So here we have to run that test. So let's say, please create a blog about time travel. Okay, so this is going to go to AI agent, goes to simple memory, open AI, and then it goes to the find the right tool, and now it has run. So now that since we ran the blog post tool, and if you go inside here, you will find the title, a fascinating journey about description, a raw HTML, image, alt text, URL slug, and everything. So this you can use inside your JSON. So if you look here, all this data is coming from AI. So we can get this data from AI inside your JSON. So how do you get that? So if you select expressions here, you can go in and add this double curly brackets. This will open up all the merge field values that you have access to. And then you click on from AI. So this is gonna be from AI. You can get these data. And then you have to use the key. And the key is here. This is title is the key for this. So you have to add double quotes, and inside the double quotes add title, and then you get the title filled in here. So this is how you fill out all this value. So if you go here, you can see I've filled out description. So let's make it bigger. I have selected title, and then I have description, I have raw HTML, image, alt text, URL slug, and now all of this are taken from the merge field value that are available at this step. So once that is done, you are pretty good to go. Your JSON is ready, your header section, authorization, everything is ready. And you can also select optimized response and expected response type as JSON. And that is done. So now you have an MCP tool that is going to create a blog post for you. Okay, so before you forget, just go in here and make sure that you copy the production URL and click save that. And then you go back to the tool that is coming from AI agent and go in here and then update the endpoint so that when it is running to the production URL, not the test URL. So that is something you might miss. So please don't forget that. Once you've done that, click save and it's all ready. So just refresh this, reset this, and you are ready to go. So this is how you can use the chat widget from N8N and run your CRM tasks. Okay, so now if you remember, I have already made this chat as public and I have a link here. So if I select this link and open this link, this is where I can access that. And now I can ask how many contacts do I have? Then it will go to that location and bring the number of contacts. You have a total of 50 contacts in this record. Okay, now I can ask to create a blog post. Please create a blog post about laptops. Then it would go and create a blog post from this chat widget. So the blog post title, Exploring the Latest Trends in Laptop, has been successfully created. You can view the URL. You can view it using the URL slug. I don't think that will take me to the actual page. But if I add the root domain in front of it, that should work. And now feel free to do anything else that you would like to do. Personally, I would say this is much better way to use your MCP tasks using this chat widget rather than giving a call. But since I have already shown you how it is done via a phone call, that is where we are going to look next. So I will explain that in the next video. I'll see you in the next one.